Well, welcome to a special Mentor Monday. We've designed Mentor Monday to be a weekly microdose of encouragement, inspiration, and miracle grow on your potential as a coach. And this week, I'm excited because I am joined by Sonya Gomez, who is a coach based in San Diego, California. So in our hometown. How you doing, Sonya?
Doing well, Paul. Thank you for having me on the show.
Well, Sonia's got an amazing book that she just released. But before we talk about that, I would love for Sonia to take just a minute to introduce herself. Tell us a little bit about you, how you broke into coaching. What's that experience been for you?
Yeah, so I have a history of working in mental health. I have a master's degree in rehabilitation counseling. I've worked in Spain for a while, working with mental illness, worked with foster youth, and then veterans at the Veteran Affairs here in San Diego, excuse me. And after working for so many years, I decided just to do my own thing, become a life coach. And that's where I reached out to you, the Life Coach Training Institute, and got certified. It's been
Yeah,
an amazing experience since.
yeah. So just on that, yeah, Sonia actually is one of our grads, but from a few years back when we first started our Jumpstart program, and she went through that program with us. But the fun part for me, and that's why we call it a Jumpstart. It's always the beginning, the evolution of a coach. I don't think ever really stops. You know, whatever you thought that you were going to do when you started, you're evolving, and that's what I'm really excited about this book, because I think that this is kind of like a new step that you're taking actually in your coaching career. Is obviously you have a coaching practice, you're working with a lot of people, but now you're actually coming back and helping coaches. So tell me about this book and why you wrote it.
So I originally wrote this book because I've had a lot of people come up to me and ask me how I do what I do. I've old colleagues, people from graduate school, and I decided just to put a compilation of what I know, what my knowledge is in the mental health field, my counseling, psychoanalysis, along with my business skills. Decided to put it all together and help other life coaches, provide other life coaches with the gift of hope for themselves and for their business to just keep going forward and to have practical steps in this process, in this journey.
What's one of the key things that you have found that really all coaches need to be successful that maybe you learned as you came in as a coach?
Well, number one is self-awareness. You know, we all come into this field because we have an innate desire or calling to become a helper in one way or another. But in order to help people to reach their fullest potential, we have to know we are capable of it ourselves. We have to know ourselves deeply in order to know others. And Carl Jung, one of the founding fathers of psychoanalysis, he has a quote that states, in order to get to know the darkness in others, you have to know the darkness within yourself. And you could only meet people as deeply as you meet yourself. And that's true for the darkness and for the light. We have to we have to know ourselves to be fully present and be fully capable of helping others succeed in their lives. And that's first and foremost, you have to know yourself as a life coach.
Got it. So you focus a lot in your coaching practice on self-awareness. That's kind of like your niche. Tell
Mhm.
me, I see that word being used a lot. What does it mean to you?
Well, for me, it's a conscious awareness, a conscious knowledge of our habits, of our persona, of our consciousness, of why we do what we do. What is our why behind our why in every aspect of our lives? We spend so much time getting to know other people, networking events, friendship, relationships. We don't sit and spend much time getting to know ourselves, but we have to know ourselves in order to break cycles, in order to reprogram ourselves to be the best us. And that's what self-awareness means to me.
Got it. What kind of self-awareness do you think that coaches need? Because I think that everyone should know at this point, nobody has all their ducks in a row. Me, you, no one. What are you finding consistently, especially as you're dealing with other coaches and everything? What are some of the blocks and barriers and places that maybe they really need to look when they're starting out?
Yeah. Well, that's also part of self-awareness. What are your blocks and barriers? What is preventing you from taking the next step? And most of the time it's fear of rejection, fear of criticism, and fear of failure. The three main things we are afraid of as human beings. What is your main fear-based limitation? That's something you need to know about yourself. Where does it stem from? How can you overcome it? And oftentimes we don't succeed because the voices in our head tell us we're not capable of it, because when we're kids, adults in our lives told us we weren't capable about something. But that's when, as grown-ups and as self-aware grown-ups and life coaches, we need to be able to say, you know what, those are not my voices that are telling me this, because my voices internally are full of love. And know that love within yourself and that fear within yourself, and be able to dance a little battle of the devil and angel on your shoulders and
Hmm.
decide your balance and your personal way of doing things.
So inside your book, how did you put the book together? What can someone expect inside of this book for coaches?
Yeah. So in my book, I put a lot of my experience. So practical counseling, therapy, psychoanalysis experience I've accumulated throughout the years. I put a glimmer, an introduction to all of that in the book. I have activities so life coaches can use for themselves, on themselves, to become more self-aware, to identify their values, mission statement, bio, all of that. So they can use on themselves as well as with their clients. I put I put practical steps when it comes to business startup in terms of social media marketing, marketing in general, website development, business cards, everything people need to know. And if you've been in the practice for a while, these are still steps and activities you can use over and over again for yourself and for your clients. Nobody can take this away from you once it's yours. And that's something that's beautiful about this book.
Yeah, that's excellent. As I've gone through the book, and again, the book's called The Life Coach's Playbook: The Secret to Creating a Winning Life for You and Your Clients. It's brilliant marketing. Like, it's
Mhm.
so like, yes, this is it, and it just kind of gives you, just even with the title, a sample of who Sonya is and what she really brings to the table. I love what you've kind of put together in here. It's not just, it's self-awareness, because I think that what a lot of coaches don't realize, that if you only put this book together and it was just a how-to, most of them would fail. They probably wouldn't be able to follow through, because they don't realize what programs are actually driving them. And
Mhm.
I love the fact that you've put together the self-awareness piece, which is critical, because if your mindset's off, it doesn't matter if you give somebody a how-to, they're not going to be able to follow through. But you've got both. You've got, let's go after mindsets. You actually put tools in the book,
Mhm.
and then and it's stuff that actually works, because you've been crushing it as a coach.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, it's stuff I use on myself. It's stuff I've done for myself, and that's why self-awareness. I need to know myself in order to be able to help other life coaches succeed in their business. And it's stuff I use on myself, on my clients to this day. And I keep reevaluating myself because we're constantly evolving as human beings, and so are our clients. And that's one thing I love about this. You can go back, and every time you go back and redo these activities, it's going to be a different you. And we have to
Mhm.
know that when we go into these next phases of our lives.
Yeah, and here's the other cool thing that I think people should know as they're going through the tools that are on here. You can keep using these tools over and over again,
Hmm.
because you'll deal with some stuff, it'll come up, you'll get major breakthrough, but then you can come back and use the identical tools again, because we're all, I find for me, um, I'm at a different place. The tools will still be relevant, but I might be in a different place 3 6 months down the road, or sometimes stuff hits the fan and it makes you reevaluate. So these tools are gold.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Very cool. What would be, for a coach starting out, just any coach, because you've went through that process. You already had a successful career in doing what you were doing previously, and a big background. When I met you, you were doing a lot of that journeying, and you're like, "Hey, I'm getting ready to go to Spain, like for the next 6 years or something like that." Like I've always known you as a person who will actually go after things
Mhm.
anyway. But what's based on your experience and what you walked through, what would be the biggest takeaway or the biggest advice that you would give to a coach starting out, who's maybe like, man, I'm terrified of this. I don't know if I don't know if I have what it takes. I don't have enough training. People are going to reject me. What would be
Mhm.
the biggest piece of advice that you would give on this end?
You need to be bold. You need to start where you are with what you have. The sad truth is, nobody really cares about your fears, about your self-perceived limitations. It's not always the biggest, brightest, smartest people who most prepared people who succeed. It's the bravest. It's the boldest. We've all seen it. We see it all the time. It's the people who are willing to put themselves out there, no matter how ridiculous their ideas are. And you have to keep trying. If you go out there and it doesn't work out, okay, that's okay. You get up and you try again. That's just one more way you know that's not going to work. But there are a million other ways. And it allows you to tap into your creativity and be proud of your authenticity. Let your authenticity shine through because knowing that what you have to offer the world, there's a market for that. Everything about you that you have to offer the world, there is a market for that. And don't worry too much about what everybody needs from you. You shine from the inside out and you will find your target market just like that. It's it's easier said than done, but
Hmm.
that's the trick. That's definitely the trick. Be bold. Be authentically bold.
Yeah, and full disclosure on this, I think it's really important for people to know, especially new coaches, is um, that this is an evolution, not only in you and your own awareness, but an evolution as a coach. Because to find your niche, to find your people. I know you and I were talking about it previously, and you talked about that there's a little bit of trial and error. Could you speak to that? As you're going through your process.
Yeah. There's, when I first started out, I believe I said my niche was social interactions coach or something like that. And I found that wasn't really in my calling. It wasn't really for me. And through trial and error, you find out what clients come to you. You have a business model and it just completely goes to crap, and recognizing that human, being part of the human experience is being imperfect and nobody knows what the hell they're doing. Tony Robbins doesn't wake up every single day and know what he's doing, no matter how much we may think he does. We don't know what we're doing. We don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. And we have to try and try again. And even if we're fearful, we have to push through and do it anyway. It's stepping out of your comfort zone over and over again and being comfortable with being uncomfortable. And the
Yeah.
only way to do that is through practice. Just do it.
Yeah. Would you say that maybe your niche and even some of the opportunities that you've been discovering for yourself as you've gone along, have they just kind of like found you because you were doing the right thing or you were in the right place at the right time? Like, have they just found you? How's this point of discovery kind of happen for you?
A lot of it was, as helpers, I'm sure you can relate. People just gravitate towards you for advice. I know for me, it's been like that my whole life. And I just sat back and wondered, what advice do people normally come to me for? What is it about? What do they specifically ask for? What advice do I project outwards to people? And I found there was a common theme of self-awareness. The books I read, the people I surround myself with, it all comes down to self-awareness. Even though I didn't know that when I first started out, you start noticing patterns in people who you attract and people who you are attracted to. And that's where I started to narrow down more and more and more to self-awareness.
That's excellent. Very good. Well, cool. Well, here's a quick shout out in a way that I want to speak some encouragement over you. One of the things that's amazing about Sonya is that she's learned that givers gain. I've known Sonya for some years. She's a coach that would be right across town, but we're not competitive because we're not competing. Because frankly, Sonya's going to have a different clientele than I'm going to have anyway, and people are going to choose Sonya over me, and I'm okay with that, you know. And so that's one of the things that we're not in a scarcity mindset about that. And when you realize that there's abundance, then you have people like Sonya who's writing books like this one for coaches to be able to help and pour into you so that you don't make the same kind of mistakes, or that if you're banging your head against the wall one day, that you're not absolutely crazy, because all of us have gone through it. The cool thing is that these days we have people like Sonya that have actually walk through it, because most schools don't cover anything about the business end of coaching at all. So you're kind of like out there. And so
Mhm.
utilize gifts like this book is, like these tools are. I want to speak specifically to the stuff that Sonya shares in the book about social media. And Sonya has over 10,000 followers on Instagram, and they're real people. She didn't pay $29 to
Yeah.
get like 10,000 followers, because that would mess up your brand and it would actually hurt your engagement and everything else. There's an actual strategy that she used to be able to attract real people, follow up with them. She serves that network of people on her Instagram multiple times a day. I watch you
Mhm.
post multiple times a day. You do videos, you do inspirational things, you do a lot of different stuff. And the cool thing is that she's converting people to clients, which is super encouraging. But she's got strategies that work. She actually shared some of them with me, probably like a year or two ago. We were having a conversation. She's like, "Oh, I'll just send you what I have, and you can see how I do it." And it's like, whoa! And that comes from an abundance mindset, and I believe that that's something that, whether that was always innate in you or something that you developed over time, it shows, because it's something that you carry with you all the time, and I think it's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And as helpers, we have to support other helpers. And I strongly believe drastic global change begins at the individual level. The more you know yourself, help yourself, and provide to others, especially the helpers who are trying to make this world a better place, that's where positive global change occurs. And we have to spread the love. There's no point in that scarcity. There is an abundance. And it is a mindset I had to acquire over time, but it's true. Life has proven it to me over and over and over again in the most beautiful ways. And yeah, thank you for that. But yes,
Yeah, I
there's an
appreciate.
abundance.
Yeah, I appreciate that a bunch. Well, cool. Do you have any last piece of advice that you'd like to share with this audience before we head out for the day?
Yeah, just to be authentically you. Be authentically you in your walks. Speak your truth, live your truth, and don't be afraid of your truth, because your truth is either going to shield people who are not meant to be in your life, or it's going to attract people who are going to be in your life. And just know, as a helper, the more you inspire yourself, you inspire others by default. And that's my ultimate goal. Inspire yourself to inspire others.
That's awesome. Well said. And the book again is The Life Coach's Playbook: The Secret to Creating a Winning Life for You and Your Clients. I'm Paul Dabdu, and this is Sonya Gomez. Make sure that you pick up her book. There's a link on the page right now. We've also flashed it a couple of times on the screen for you as well. But you can pick up this book in minutes, right? They can click the link and they
Mm-hmm.
buy it and they get it immediately.
Absolutely. $7.95. You click on it, get it. It could be on your computer as an ebook, PDF file, print it out, highlight it, whatever you need to do, but it's yours.
Yeah, sometimes instant gratification pays off in cases like today. You don't have to delay this anymore. You can actually
Nope.
start working on you in minutes, like right now.
Yep, like right now.
All right. Hey, Sonya, I appreciate you immensely. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Paul.
All right, everybody. Well, have a great rest of your week. One of these days, I'll be able to speak and not like fumble over my words. That'd be amazing, wouldn't it? And I'm not going to cut this out. I'm going to keep that, because we're like normal, regular people who don't have all of our stuff together. So let's just keep moving forward. Take bold steps. Be who you truly are. I hope you've been inspired today. Have a great rest of your week, and take care.